everyone and welcome back to my channel, Olivia and I. This video is something I've been planning for a while. It's regarding my breastfeeding journey and how I weaned my daughter onto bottles, onto formula. I always wanted to breastfeed. From a lot of years ago, I've always said I wanted to breastfeed. And when I got pregnant, I wanted to breastfeed, that was the plan. Obviously, I was very aware that might, it might not happen. Everybody's different. It works for some, it works for other people. It doesn't work for other people. So I had a very open mind, and I should just point out, I am very much fed is best. Whatever works for you, whether it's bottles, whether it's expressing, whether it's formula or boob, whatever is best for you and your baby. I have no opinion on what other people do. This is what I wanted to do. I had an open mind in terms of I didn't know if it would work. I had spoken with other people, they'd told me their stories. So I kind of thought, if I can't breastfeed, then I think I would like to express, at least for a time. And if I obviously couldn't do that, then it would obviously be formula, which I had no issues with at all. If that's what it came to, and that's what worked for Olivia, and that's what worked for me, that was fine. No problems at all. I gave birth, and I was put through to a ward with other ladies who'd given birth. And I got to do it for the first time, and hand on heart, it was easy for us. She just latched on, it was fine. And I think the next couple of days I didn't even really get much help from the midwives, because she just was a natural. She just knew what she was doing. She was in the correct position. Really no problem. The only people that really gave us assistance was I think there was a midwife who sort of specialised in breastfeeding, and she just sort of gave us a bit of advice on like positioning of where she should be, especially for our situation. She just sort of gave us a few hints and tips. But generally, her latch was amazing, like so good, and I count my lucky stars. I genuinely feel very, very lucky just how easy it all happened with us. Even when we got home and the midwives came to see us the next couple of days, they were genuinely surprised at how well she knew what she was doing. There was no issues whatsoever. So yes, very lucky. Breastfeeding was established, she did it. The only thing that nobody had really told me about was cluster feeding. You go to the antenatal groups, you get told about breastfeeding, you get told about latch, but nobody actually tells you about cluster feeding, or certainly no one told me. What to expect upon feeding for the first time, that they can feed consistently, for hours at a time or on and off, just taking short, even either taking no breaks or very short breaks. And it's obviously natural, she cluster fed, and it was quite hard, it's so demanding that I just felt somebody had sat down and gone, this is what you're going to get. At least you can be slightly prepared for it. I'm not saying all the way prepared, but just slightly prepared for it. So obviously the cluster feeding was quite a lot, it was quite demanding, but we got through it, and we had, obviously it was quite sore to start with. We had a few blister problems, but I used the Lacino cream, which worked a treat. And I think one of the times was really bad, I stopped feeding on that side for like 12 hours just to give it a bit of a break. Breastfeeding was very, very easy to start with. Apart from obviously the general pains, I do remember sort of that initial, when she latched on, it was like, oh, that's sore, ow, 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 and then sort of after a couple of minutes it faded. And then by the end, there was no pain at all, so it was really good. So when we got home, I spoke to the midwife about expecting your milk to come in, and a lot of people had told me, when your milk comes in, you'll get engorged. So I think we were on to about day 4 or 5 and I had no engorgement whatsoever. So I'm panicking, thinking, my milk's not coming in, oh my God. But I'm one of the very lucky people that I don't get engorgement, and I didn't get it the whole way through. The midwife said to me, can you see white stuff? And I was, well, white fluid, and I was like, yeah. Well, she says, that's your milk's come in. So, but obviously, first time mum, you think, oh, is something wrong? Am I different? Is there something near right? But yeah, no, the milk came in. And I was very lucky not to have engorgement. I didn't have any leaking at all either. Apart, I think there was a couple of times at the start, very early on at the start, I had leaking, but I had a whole box of breast pads that were never used. There's really not a huge amount I can say about my breastfeeding journey other than it was really easy but very demanding, and very tiring as well, because it was constantly feeding, and I personally didn't feel comfortable feeding in front of other people, apart from like my mum, Craig's mum, my sister-in-law, Craig himself, obviously I had no problems feeding in front of. But when it came to sort of visitors, men, I just didn't feel comfortable, and that was nothing to do with anybody making me feel like I had to go anywhere. I just felt uncomfortable, and if I was in the house and there was somebody here, I would go upstairs and feed her. And then obviously out with the house, I would have to feed her, and I got a breastfeeding cover, which was fine to start with, but I think as she got older and a bit more fidgety, it just wasn't comfortable to do it with a cover. It was just like you couldn't kind of see what was going on. It was hot, it was dark, and it was just, I was having to hold her and hold me, and it just wasn't very comfortable. So a lot of the time, if I was out and about, I would kind of time it so I could feed in the car, and that way I didn't have to have any cover. I just kind of slyly hid behind the car sort of frame, as opposed to peering out the window. And I think that was one of the reasons it was kind of getting to me. As she was getting older, it was getting more frustrated, that I did want to stop. I didn't actually say, initially, when I first knew I was pregnant, I always said I wanted to give it 6 months. I would only feed for 6 months, because that's what I felt comfortable with. I was going to go back to work. I didn't want to be tied all that sort of time. 6 months I was happy with. And I think I got a couple of months in, and I think I said, let's go for 5. Because we can get onto bottles, get her comfortably onto formula, and then she'll go onto food. And we don't have the stress of doing formula and food. And so I said 5 months. And then just as time got on, it was just really, I never, it's kind of tough to try and explain it, but I really liked breastfeeding, I really did, and I thought the connection was really nice, and there was just times when she would look up at you and you would think, oh, this is so nice, and it was really easy, and there wasn't the cost of formula, but it was very tiring, and it was very demanding, and also because of that, it was very tiring. So I did really like it, and I'm very, very proud of where I got to. I know so many other women get to 6 months and further, a year, even further than a year. But me personally, I think I was happy in the end to start weaning, the weaning process. I did get a pump and try and pump milk out. Initially it was going to be to let Craig do it, of an evening. I just didn't get an awful lot, and I found it a bit of a faff, because you were trying to make sure she was fed, and then when you were trying to pump, you were trying to kind of keep her entertained or sleeping, and it was just a lot of work. and then all I was getting was a wee small amount, a couple of ounces, and that's where I started at. And then I think the couple of times that we gave her that, she more or less took it no bother. I mean, she was a bit faffy with it. I mean, she was a bit like, what's this? Didn't take it easy, but it wasn't, she did take it, and there was no confusion over me or the bottle or anything like that. She was just a natural at breastfeeding, and had no issues with changing to a bottle or taking a dummy. You know, she just knew what she was about. So she took the bottle no problem, and I did pump, but it just got to the point where I didn't do it anymore, and I found it too much trouble. And for all that I got, I didn't really enjoy the pumping side of things, so I was glad that I didn't really do it an awful lot, or had to do it. I mean, shout out to all these women who pump and then feed, like bottle feed. I think you're amazing. So I think we got to about 4 months, and well, she slept through at 3, and then by 4 months it was just feeding all the time. And to kind of start with, I was like, oh, it's a growth spurt, you know, she's just going through a growth spurt, it'll calm down. It wasn't, it was getting worse and worse and worse. It was 14 feeds a day, both sides, and you know, you're looking at 4 times a night getting up feeding, and I was shattered. And the midwife had suggested trying giving her a wee suppy of water at night, boiled water, to see if that helped, but she wasn't having that. She was like, I want my milk. I'm hungry, give her my milk. So I think that's when it got to a point when it was like every hour, I would say, she was feeding, especially in the afternoon. You couldn't get anything done, and it was constantly, sometimes it was half an hour. It was just a battle of constantly feeding, and I didn't feel myself. I was really tired, I was low in energy, and I wasn't happy. And I just thought, right, it's time to just go for it. So we gave her our first bottle of formula. She took it no problem at all. The only thing was that it was a bit slow, because at this point she was 4 months. We got we're basically using the Tommy Tippy bottles, and we were originally had the slow flow teats, so eventually we had to get the medium flow teats, and they worked perfect for her. Obviously it works for her age. And when I first said, right, we're gonna wean, let's go for it, for four months, I tried to look on YouTube and in the internet, and trying to find things there, how people weaned, and I was kind of stressing over it, and I was asking other people how they'd done it, because obviously I knew that she would go into a routine with having bottles, but we were feeding on demand, so how kind of did you go over that? And really, there wasn't just a huge amount. Yes, there was lots about weaning toddlers, you know, a 1-year-old, but I wanted something more specific to us, and there just wasn't that out there. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video, was sort of information on how I weaned, because it's not easy. You know, I'm a first time mum. I've never breastfed. I've never weaned. I didn't even know where really to start. I kind of just tried things, you know, and I read a couple of bits online, but basically how we did it was we started with the bedtime one. So the first bottle she got with us was around 7 o'clock, just before her bed. And to start with, I set a time of about 1 o'clock, that between that times, she would only get formula. So that was fine. Worked fine. And then after that, I would feed her myself. We did that for a week. Another week, that week came and passed, and then we added on till 7 in the morning, or when she got up, basically 6, 7 in the morning roughly. So again, any formula, that's what she took then, and she fed for me during the day. Originally I had said that I was gonna continue on, so I would continue on during the day until we were completely weaned. But I changed it slightly because the morning one was a nice one, and I really liked the first one in the morning. And I also thought it's a nice one to finish on, because that's like the first one. You don't want to be like doing just like a random afternoon one that could be anything. Whereas I don't know, it was just something about that morning one. I thought that was a nice one to finish on. So I kind of reversed it. So I think we started going from about 3-4 in the afternoon till obviously till her bedtime, well, till 7 in the morning ideally. She would only get formula then. So she usually got a bottle then she got a bottle about 7, and she maybe took a bottle at night. She took a bottle during the night as well. So that was fine. I also was very lucky in terms that she didn't just take a small amount of formula, she took 8-9 ounces, and that kept her going for a long time. So we really did see a big improvement. You know, I could get things done. If it was during the night, I got some sleep. You know, I was starting to feel better. There was a degree of, it made me feel quite sad that I couldn't satisfy her, and almost a bit guilty that I couldn't give her what she needed. But at the same time, because I was giving her something and she was better, I was better as well. So yeah, you know, it was the right thing to do. So we did that was from 3 till 7 in the morning, and then upped it again till about 12. So you know, this was over a 1 week period, so it was like 1 week, and then we would up it again, another week, and then we would up it again, another week, and we would up it again, till we got till about 10 in the morning. So that was fine. And then usually in the morning she would take a feed from me in the morning, first thing. She would have a wee play, a couple hours later take another feed and go down for a nap. So by this point we'd got into that last 2 feeds, and then we cut out the second feed. So I would feed her and give her a bottle, and then we got down to the very last feed, and that was cut, and then that was us. And I remember sort of leading up to that last time feeding thinking, do I want to stop? Do I really want to stop? Do I? And I kind of just did it because I thought if I sort of hesitate and kind of keep it going longer, you know, it was working fine. Just let's go for it. And I did it, and actually it didn't affect me as much as I thought it would, which makes me think that we definitely had the right decision to do it. And it just is so much better. The only real issue we had with weaning to formula was her stomach. She took a couple of weeks to adjust to it. We had a couple of mega nappies, but once we got over that, her poo started to harden, and it was much better. And now she takes a bottle first thing, she'll take one mid-morning. We're now on to food, so she has some lunch, she'll have some food at lunchtime, then she'll usually have a bottle about 4 o'clock, and then our bedtime one, and she doesn't take any during the night now. So it really has made a huge difference. And I know there's so many people going, oh, we could have done this or you could have done that, but for me personally, it was time to move on. Both me and Olivia are so much happier. I can give Craig the bottle, he can help out our parents. Makes things just so much easier. Especially when you're going places. I remember going into Aberdeen one day with my mum shopping. Every 2 hours she was feeding off of me. And when you're trying to shop and have a nice day out, it's so tiring. So it's just so much better. I really am much happier with it. I didn't have really have any issues on me personally, physically. I had a couple of leaks when I started to go longer. I was quite uncomfortable. Because I didn't have any leaking or engorgement, I never really wore a bra to bed, and then I had to start to, because it wasn't engorgement, but I think because the milk was there, there was just a heaviness, and if I didn't wear a bra, it was really uncomfortable. So I had to start wearing a bra 24/7, and I still can't wear a bra to this day. It's been stopped feeding for about a week now. So I'm hoping eventually that'll fade, and things will get a bit better. I read that you can take ibuprofen to help with the sort of uncomfortableness of it, so I did do that a couple of times when it was sort of at its worst, when it was leaking and that. But generally, it's more, now that I've stopped, I've had a couple of periods of nausea, I've got a couple of breakouts of spots, kind of really tired and lacking energy, so I think it's just sort of as the hormones leave my body, kind of calming down after the feeding, I'm going through all that, but it is slowly getting better. Obviously I've stopped now completely, so I'm hoping within, you know, a few weeks things will really settle down and kind of get back to normal. But no, best thing for us, and I absolutely loved it, and if I have any more kids I'll totally try it again. Absolutely loved it. It was very easy, very demanding, and I'm very proud of where we got to. So thank you for listening. It wasn't really so much a tips one I wanted to give, I just wanted to give my experience, and if you can relate to that, or if there's anything I can help you with, or if you're any questions, you know, ask below, or you can private message me, please do so, because I'm more than happy to help, because I know it's really difficult when you're a first time mum and you just don't know what to do, and there's pressures from this side or that side. You do what's best for you, and do what you feel you want to do, not what anyone else tells you to do. But as I say, I'm here if you want to ask any questions, and that's it. So hope you enjoyed this video. It is probably a bit long, but I wanted to sort of give a good account of how we got on with it and the weaning process that I took. So give it a thumbs up, please hit subscribe and click the bell, and you'll get a notification of any new videos. We upload on a Tuesday and a Friday, so I would love you to stick around. There's lots more content coming up over the next few months, and we'll see you again soon. Bye!